Hey, boredom, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite movies, and today I'm going to be doing a movie review on a movie that you probably haven't heard. If you are not in the Hong Kong film circle, then you would probably have never heard of this movie, but it is a movie called Blue Island, or憂鬱之島, by filmmaker Tze-Woon. So this is actually a relatively new movie that just got released, and it has a very short time frame of release in Los Angeles, just 1 week, and it's only screening in Laimla Royal Theaters, which is actually pretty close to the apartment that I'm living in right now. So a couple of nights ago, I actually went out to that theater and spent $12.5 to buy a ticket to watch this movie, and that is actually the final screening of this film. So here we go, Blue Island. 遥我知道, which literally means depressing island. So Blue Island is a pretty apt title for this movie. So first of all, this is a political half narrative, half documentary. And lately there have been more and more political dramas and documentaries ever since 2015's 10 Years to Number One Chongying Street, released in, I believe, 2019. And of course, after the protests of 2019, we have more and more political dramas and documentaries and short films. Do Not Split, which got nominated for Best Documentary Short in the Oscars. Of course, we have the gigantic, the huge, the pioneering Revolution of Our Times, which is a movie banned in Hong Kong and China, but I had the pleasure to watch earlier this year in April. And of course, we have many other political dramas and documentaries, including May We Stay Forever Young, which I did not see, but I want to see if I get the chance to. So anyways, we have a new political drama, Blue Island. And given how many political dramas and political documentaries that have surfaced from the world of Hong Kong film, it might as well be a new movement. But anyways, yeah, so this is half narrative, half documentary. The narrative parts are basically where Chen Tze-Woon, the filmmaker, tells a bunch of non-actors, politicians, and activists, and tell them to basically reenact historical events. The 67 Red Kong incident, the escaping to Hong Kong during the Cultural Revolution in the early 1970s, and the June 4th Tiananmen Square massacre, the notorious massacre that everybody's memeing about. And the documentary parts are basically the parts where the movie follows a few people that are involved in these historical events. There's a survivor from Tiananmen Square massacre who is also a Hong Konger who grew up to become a lawyer and also a political activist. We have a couple of old men who came to Hong Kong during the early 1970s because of the Cultural Revolution, and then we have another person who was involved in the 1967 anti-British pro-CCP Red Kong protests. So this drama, I guess, this drama slash documentary overall is kind of a mess because it basically goes over multiple incidents. And of course, including the 2019 anti-extradition bill protests, which became the number one most insane, large-scaled protest that Hong Kong has ever encountered. But I guess all in all of these events converge to one conclusion, and that is Hong Kong is a depressing island. It is a blue island, in fact, because of how many protests, how many socio-political movements it has, I guess, survived through, and that is mainly because of the very unstable political landscape that Hong Kong has and had gone through. So yeah, I'm not huge on the narrative parts because the acting isn't great. Obviously, they're non-actors, and because of the very lack of structure that this movie has. The narrative parts are not necessarily all that great. Sometimes we would have a scene and then the director would say cut, and then we would literally jump behind the camera and look at the set, and almost breaking the fourth wall, literally breaking the fourth wall. Kind of like Center Stage by Stanley Kwan. He sort of did that for that movie as well. And I guess in a sense, this sort of breaking the fourth wall signifies, oh, by the way, all this filming stuff, I know it's not real, but it's actually real. It's based on a true story, and it sort of has that effect. But overall, I'm not huge on the narrative parts, whereas the documentary parts of this movie is really, really nice. I really love the part in this movie where it basically documents the life of the Tiananmen Square massacre survivor. This movie gave him a lot of personality and a lot of character because he talked about his experience, hearing the gunshots, running away, and then he also talked about his life now as a lawyer. You know, sort of a small potato, small time lawyer, helping people and occasionally voicing out, standing up for the protesters of Hong Kong in 2019, joining the protests, lighting up the candle in Victoria Park during the June 4th memorials, and also getting drunk in a dinner party. This documentary just gave him a lot of personality, and I really like that. And I also have huge respect for the filmmakers behind this movie to talk about the 1967 protests. Because if you don't know this, in 1967, Hong Kong also had a massive protest, but it's anti-British, pro-CCP, pro-China. And it's actually really interesting to see a person who protested for the CCP 50 years ago sitting alongside with a person who protested against the CCP nowadays together in a cell room in a prison, presumably Tze-Woon in Central. If you haven't been there, go check it out. It's a very new tourist attraction in Hong Kong. If you're there, check it out, I guess. Yeah, it's really interesting because you get to see multiple perspectives, but you also get to see how it works overall. Sure, I mean, I freaking hate the CCP. You know, I would never in the life of me even imagine myself protesting for the CCP, for the Chinese government, but in the perspective of a bunch of young people in the 1960s, where the Brits are essentially oppressing the Hong Kong citizens, and China seems to be this new communist cool thing that's going on. You know, naturally young people would drift towards the Chinese government more. So it's really interesting to see how it all works. But it all goes to show how much of a shambles Hong Kong is in politically and has always been in ever since the 1840s. You know, so yeah, Blue Island, Tze-Woon. It's a good movie. I enjoyed it, and mostly because it's me. You know, if anyone else see it, maybe they would not like it all that much. But because I'm a Hong Konger and I feel sentimental watching this stuff, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm giving Blue Island a strong 7 to a light 8 out of 10. Yes. So have you watched Blue Island from 1 to 10? I would just rate it, like it, and subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching.